Hi Foxes, and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here and this is your first time over on my channel, welcome. I like to talk about vintage, and in particular dating vintage and selling vintage and wearing vintage, and I like to talk about style and fashion, and of course, you know, how those things collide. So today's video is actually going to be a what sold video. I figured I've been gone for quite a while. I've had a lot of stuff going on just in my day-to-day life, and so I haven't been doing YouTube. And you've all been very patient with me, which I really appreciate. But yeah, I thought what better way to get into it than to show you what has been selling for me for the past month. So what I'm going to do is actually I am going to record my screen while I am talking to you on my camera, and then I'll be able to like put myself kind of in the corner so that you can see me while I talk about what sold. So the first platform that we're going to go over is going to be Etsy, and for this video I'm just going to do my two vintage specific platforms, which is Etsy and Thrilling. Because we're doing the whole month of October, it would just be too much to do all four platforms that I sell on. So I'm going to do another video where we go over Poshmark and where we go over eBay, and then I'm going to sort of talk about just sort of where I am in my reselling and kind of what I want to be doing going forward, because I think coming to the year's end I want to change some stuff up, but not with Etsy and not with Thrilling. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and dive right in. I'm gonna start recording my screen here. We're gonna start at the beginning of the month, and that is gonna be this little girl's crazy sweater. I actually picked this up when I was visiting my mom. I only went down there for like 3 or 4 days. I got to see Victoria from Super Geeked, and we went to the bins in Jackson, Mississippi, and I brought home a very full suitcase packed with items, and this was one that like I knew it wouldn't bring a lot of money, but I just couldn't leave it behind. It was in great shape. I don't even know if it had ever been worn, but it just reminded me of like one of those jazz solo cups, or like a carpet in like a skate rink, you know. And it was a size 12, but I thought it was a little bit small. I mean, I don't have a 12-year-old girl, but I thought it was a little bit on the smaller side. Pardon my voice, by the way. And that one sold for $16.99, and in my Etsy store buyers pay shipping for everything, so I think I actually did have one item this month that had free shipping on it, and that was sort of a holdover. I've had that item for a very long time, so I'll share that with you when we come up to it. So that was, yeah, that was the first item, and yeah, it was just a crazy sweatshirt. I think one of the things that helped me sell this was that I put in the tags Decade Day, which is sort of what they're calling the dress from the past day in elementary school now. So like my son, you know, when they do Spirit Week and stuff, they'll have Decade Day. And so I used that as a tag, and I think that might have helped. This sold very quickly, I think, within a couple of days of listing. Next up was a bow tie. I think I sold the black and white, or black and like grayish striped bow tie. This one that's second from the top. The only one I have left is the brown dot one. I have had these for so long, and I mean, it sold for $15.99, but I can't really, I'm sure I paid like next to nothing for them. But yeah, I can't really say that I recommend picking them up because they have taken forever to sell. So next up was this Chartreuse Coat. I got this from the big estate buyout that I went and did. It's a great color. This was actually my only return on Etsy for October so far, so I do offer no hassle returns. If you don't like something for any reason, whether it's fit or it's just not the color you liked, and if it's not my fault, then you can return it and pay shipping back to me, and then you get a full refund of the item price, not the shipping that I already paid to ship it to you. But I have that, you know, clearly explained in my policies, and yeah, this person said that it was just a little bit too big for them. They love the coat, but they returned it and left 5 stars for the transaction. So that one was a return, and that one sold for $74.99, and it is relisted now. Next up was these red pants. I actually did a Goodwill outlet 70s like mega haul a couple of videos back on my YouTube channel, and I found so many trousers, some crazy clothes from like the 70s, tops, bottoms. There were some from the 80s as well. But yeah, just so many pairs of pants, and I found 4 different pairs of red pants, and I bought them, and I've sold 3 now. So I have 1 pair left, and they were all like kind of different sizes. These were a size large, extra large, and those sold for $35.99. Yeah, they were marked a vintage size 14. I like to style things. I think it just, I don't know, I think it helps stuff sell rather than just showing, you know, the item alone on a dress form. I think depending on the item, it can be fine both ways, but with pants, I really like I really like to style them. So, but I think my dress form looks weird if it's just like the pants on the bottom and there's nothing on the top. I don't like it. So next up was this book. This is an Alice in Wonderland book, and this just came off of our bookshelves at home. I'm sure I got this at the bins, which it's 20 cents per pound, and this is a little golden book, so I paid maybe like 2 cents for it or something like that. It was from the 1970s, and someone purchased it for $16.99. I can only assume that they had the same book, like the same cover. As a kid, maybe they wanted to gift it, maybe they were feeling nostalgic, maybe they wanted a copy for their grandkids. But yes, that one sold for $16.99. These I also got from the bins. This was a wooden block puzzle, and I'll play the video for you. So every side had a different picture, and originally when I picked this up, I thought it was older. I thought maybe like Edwardian or something like that, but it turned out to be from about the 40s. I believe they were made in West Germany, and then they just had different fairy tales on all the different sides, and originally they would have had like cards to show you what the picture was supposed to look like. Let me tell you, putting this puzzle together with no cards and trying to flip the sides, it was hard. And like down here in the corner where the rock is and the trees get dark, like it doesn't even look like it matches. So I struggled so hard putting this together, but I did it. And it ended up selling for $24.99. It's from the bins, and our hard goods are like $1.39, $1.49. And so I probably paid like $3 for these, something like that. Next up was this pair of Victorian leather boots. Had these for a long time, at least a year, probably 2 years. I remember buying these on Poshmark because someone was selling them as 1980s boots, and they were like, I don't know, $10 or $15. And I was like, okay, those are actually Victorian walking boots, and they were like in pristine condition. The bottoms looked like they had never been walked in, just like kind of museum quality shoes. And you know, they still had the original laces. They did have a little bit of cracking around the top because the leather is over 100 years old. But look at that pointy toe. I don't know, I just thought they were a lot of fun. I measured them and estimated that they were about a size 6, and I specified, you know, that there were some issues with them, with the like leather getting dry, and that you would want to recondition them. And then I said I didn't know if they would hold up to being worn, so that I was selling them as display condition only, because sometimes when I'm going on a tangent here, I'm sorry. But sometimes when you have old shoes, especially if the soles aren't like stitched on, the soles can crack, they can come off. If the glue is old, they can come undone. So I didn't know what the condition of these was, so I just went ahead and sold them as display condition. And those sold for $95.99, and they took a while to sell. Let's see. The next sale was these little tap shorts. I pulled these out of the bins. They were light as air. I couldn't have paid more than 10 cents for them. I could not get them 100% clean. Just like the faint, like obviously I soaked them for quite a while. I think an overnight soak, but it's just a little bit of yellowing I just couldn't get out. And then they had a couple little holes toward the top, but I thought they were really pretty. And you'll notice some of the keywords that I used in the title. They did sell to someone who is not a female, which is fine, great. You know, I have absolutely no problem with that. And I knew that when I listed them that could very well be who bought them, but that sold for $25.99. So not too bad to turn like 10 cents into 26 bucks. Next up, this was in our house when we bought it, so we inherited a lot of my husband's grandmother's things, and she had an antique booth at one point, I think. So she had a bunch of antique books. I've just kind of been like going through them. We went through a bunch when we first moved in. We sort of saved the ones that had the most value. And this was one of them. It was from 1866, Dr. Chase's Recipes. This sold overseas to Yugoslavia, maybe? I don't remember exactly, but it was somewhere over in like, what is it? Eastern Europe. And yeah, it just kind of goes through like all the different details about just like recipes for you know, tanning leather, or like cooking recipes, or making a powder for your face, but all from 1866. So if you are interested in doing things an older way, or you're writing like a paper about, you know, how something was done, or you're writing a book and you need reference material, this sort of thing is very helpful. It was in okay condition, pretty good. None of the pages were like coming out. The binding was not split. You'll see a lot of book sales in here, and I have been listing a lot more books on my Etsy shop. I will preface this by saying that I have been a librarian and a bookseller for 12 years or something like that. Basically from 2004 to 2015, that was my career. And I did work in like a used bookstore, and we had an antiquarian book section, so I did learn quite a bit about like where the value in books comes from, how to describe them, what kind of condition you're looking for. And so I wouldn't necessarily say that, you know, go and pick out a bunch of old books, but I just happen to sort of know what I'm doing. So that one sold for $45.99. Again, sold overseas. This was given to me by my mother-in-law. They were cleaning out the bookshelves at the lake house. There's a lot of like old stuff from like the 60s and 70s. And she gave me this one. It was a first edition of Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And it did have some damage to the dust jacket. But otherwise it was in nice shape. And that one sold for $22.99. It's a very popular book, so there were a lot of them out there. And obviously that kind of decreases the value or the rarity. And then the next up was another pair of pants from that big Goodwill outlet haul that I did. These were a fantastic color of purple. Absolutely love purple pants. These sold for $45.99. They were unlined. They were cotton blends. And they're about a size like 2, something like that. And yeah, those sold for, and I already say $45.99. Next up is another book. This is one that was in our house because my husband's grandmother had it in the house, whether it was, I doubt it was hers, but like personal use, because she would have been more towards like the 50s, like the 40s, 50s, and this was from 1931. So I think that she picked this up to sell, but instead I got to sell it, and it's just like, it just had the best illustrations. I mean, the cover wasn't much to look at, but the inside, I mean, it's just, it was great. All these really like jazz age illustrations. I posted a little bit of this about on my Instagram. Some of the recipes used like, you know, sperm whale like oil and stuff like that. Just like stuff that obviously we're not going to get and use. And I did put a disclaimer in here, you know, if you are going to use any of these, you need to do some research about the safeness, safety of some of these recipes. But yeah, I looked up, you know, spermaceti, I think it's spermaceti, which was acquired from the sperm whale. I don't think we have that anymore, but yeah, this one sold for $97.99. And then I picked this up at the bins. I got a bunch of these little like Mattel Fisher-Price toys one day. They were all in really great shape, and some of them had the original box. So I picked this one up. It's from the 1980s, and the sound was really nice and clear. It didn't sound like, you know, sometimes you pull them and they're like, the farmer goes to the, this is a pig, and it just sounds horrible, like it would scare a child. But this sounded fine. So this one sold for $18.99. I posted a little video. You cannot put videos with sound on Etsy, but you can do just a video so they can see, you know, that it spins nicely. Next up was this pattern, is Vogue Pattern. I got rid of most of my patterns, and there's only a few types that I will sell now. I'll sell Gunny Sacks patterns, Laura Ashley patterns, or other like branded designer patterns, and then occasionally I'll sell Vogue patterns, not like the easy Vogue patterns, but just the ones that say Vogue Pattern. And this was sort of like a dark academia, like academia style set. It was on the smaller side, size 12, which has a 34-inch bust. It's about a modern size like 6-ish. And yes, this sold for $22.99. This came from a Goodwill blue box, which is like you go and you buy just like a giant mystery lot of jewelry. They're $30 for 5 pounds, and then you have to sort through it and try and figure out what everything is. I've mostly made it through the blue box that I bought 3 of them, I think, and I've pretty much made it through that. Absolutely more than made my money's back on those and then some. This one was a tiger's eye bracelet. It was signed. It was from the 1940s, and it sold for $45.99, and she left me 5-star feedback on that one. Then this went to a costume studio. I pulled this out of the bins. I loved the split front. I loved the corsetry, the piping detail. It was a little stretchy, a little sassy. That sold for $55.99. And again, that went to Mink's costume department in Hollywood, California. So I'm not sure if it's just for like boudoir shots or if it's for a movie. I've been selling a lot to movie sets lately. And I don't really know what all of the items are for. I know I sold something to The Voice, but I don't know. They don't always tell you like what they're going to be using the piece in. This was a Hilo Hattie dress. I listed this on eBay first. It sat for a little bit and didn't sell. And then I ended up putting it on Etsy, and it sold pretty quickly over there. It sold for $45.99. It was a rayon Hilo Hattie dress. There were others of this same dress, same print. And so I didn't price too high. I priced kind of on par with everybody else, so maybe a little bit on the higher side. This was actually just from our library. I hoped I would have little girls that liked Rainbow Bright like I did when I was a kid, but I didn't. So I sold this Rainbow Bright Saves Christmas book. It's actually a reproduction book by Scholastic of the 80s classic. And that was sold for $12.99. It sold pretty quickly too. Couple of days, I think. Then the next one was a bundle sale. I was very excited about this because I had 2 bundle sales this month on Etsy, which honestly doesn't happen very often. So yeah, I feel happy that people are finding multiple things that they want. And just today I got 5-star feedback for this one. This was a pair of pants I got from that Goodwill outlet haul from the 70s. These were $45.99. And you can kind of see they got that great like wide leg belt bottom style, super high waisted. They were all like smocked elastic in the back. They were like a polyester and cotton blend. They were a size 10, which would kind of be like a 4, but because of the stretch of the waist, I kind of went with like more of the small size rather than extra small. And then they also bought this skirt, which I absolutely loved. It's really thick, really nice quality. It had the belt loops, just a lot of things really going for it. And it took a really long time to sell. Like, I want to say a year and a half, maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know this brand. It was definitely older, but you could see like some of the serge seams. So I think like late 70s on this one, possibly the 80s, but it was just sort of like a really nice woven wool skirt, great color. And yeah, it did finally sell for full price though, which was $77.99. So I was very happy about that. I think I paid $14 for that at a local consignment store. So this one I got from the estate buy that I did. The average I paid for those items was about $10. This was like a chore jacket. It was pretty rough around the edges. It had these wooden buttons. They were all dinged up. Kind of had like that Chinese vibe to it. And let's see. Yeah, I loved the liner in it. Very pretty like medallion type of liner. I did have to wash it. It was very dirty. The liner came up a little bit at the bottom, so, and not all the stains 100% came out, so I ended up charging $78.99, and it was a very popular item in my shop. It got a lot of views, but you want to look at the keywords chore jacket, and the indigo is the color. Like when they use that indigo dye, it gives it this blue color. And then it was a quilted cotton jacket, which is also very popular right now. I had like 5 quilted cotton jackets, and this was the last one to sell. Next up, I was so happy about this sale. This sale actually came through in the night, and then Etsy canceled it on me. They said it was not like an authorized sale, and they would just like fraud protection, more or less. I guess the person who bought it, he bought it when he wasn't signed into his Etsy account, so they weren't sure it was him, so they refunded it and then sent him a message like, if you actually want this item, then log into your Etsy account and buy it that way. I don't know the details about it, but then I went and they canceled the sale, but they didn't relist the item, so it said go back and buy it, and I was like, how's he gonna buy it? It's not relisted. So I relisted it, and he did actually come back and buy it. He said it was a gift. This did have some damage, some little holes. It had a popped seam on the side and at the back of the neck, and the button had come off. And I said that I would sew the button back on before shipping, but I decided, he paid full price for it, and I decided I was just gonna fix all the issues. I had a little bit of time. It was on a Sunday. I took a little bit extra time to ship, and then I just fixed everything for him. So you can see there's a little bit of like a hole. One of the buttons came off. I've got the original ad for it here. I spent a lot of time looking for that ad to date this. It was from 1944. Beautiful coat. I got this from a buyout that I did of a friend's vintage inventory, and you can see the little popped seam up here on the side. I paid about $7-ish a piece on average for those. This jacket sold for $425.99, so you can see why I went in and just fixed the issues, especially because it was a gift. Yeah, but I was very happy to sell that item. And that's past its return period, so I don't think that one's coming back. These were the item that had free shipping. I've had these for what feels like ever. It's probably only 2, maybe 3 years, but definitely one of the oldest items that I have in my, that I had in my inventory. I don't remember where I got these. They could have come from the bins. They could have come from like Salvation Army, which is closed now. I mean, I don't know. But they did sell for $57.99, and then they had free shipping on them. So I was just really happy to move them. I thought they were cute. I don't know why they took so long to sell, but this copy of A Wrinkle in Time was a first edition. It was a 31st printing, and it did have the Newbery medal on it. And here's a video just flipping through the book. The dust jacket was in nice shape. It had an inscription in the cover with the date, and yeah, so that one, I don't remember where I got this. I've just had it for a really long time, but that was $249.99. That sold with off-site advertisements, which I am automatically opted into. I don't have a choice with it, so I paid $38 in fees for off-site ads, and then whatever like my selling fees were on top of that. But that's okay. You know, that's a good turnaround for a book that I just like had laying around. I do love first editions, but I tried to read A Wrinkle in Time and I didn't enjoy it, so I didn't have any like sentimental attachment to this one. This I got from an estate sale. I paid about $2 for it. It was like it was like a costume, I guess, for kind of like the old Sturbridge Village sort of thing. I also got a bunch of sweaters that were hand knit by the same person, so I'm pretty sure they made this. But yeah, I just loved it. Very like puff sleeve, very prairie. Really cute little dress. This one sold for $75.99, and it was a larger size. I was honestly surprised it took the length of time it did to sell. It took 4 or 5 months to sell. I was a little bit surprised about that, but it sold for full price. This was a quick sale. This one I listed, and then within like a day or two it sold. This was a size 2X button front midi skirt. 2X stuff, man, it goes so fast. I get it up in my shop, and typically it sells in like a day or 2 days. Yeah, so that one sold very quickly, and it sold for $38.99. That came from a wholesale lot, and my average cost of goods on that was about $3. This was an Erin Cardigan. That is the style of knit. It is like an Irish cable knit cardigan. It's made out of virgin wool. This one was a very beautiful one. And the prices for these they've kind of gone up, and they're very popular right now because of the academia and because of winter and because of cottagecore. It just fits into a lot of different aesthetics. So even though I felt kind of bad, I priced this one on the higher side, $85.99. The ones that were listed on Etsy I didn't think were as pretty as mine. It has a lot of really nice like honeycomb detail. It had the little pockets and the faux leather buttons here, and no stains or anything like that. So it actually sold pretty quickly for full asking price, and yeah, that was $85.99. This was part of a 5-item bundle. I was so excited when this came in, just feeling like someone who comes into your shop and they find 5 different things. It's just really made me happy. I don't know where I got this skirt, but it was like a size extra large. I included the belt with it. There's a video, and great colors, and fun movement. Sorry. A lot of talking. Anyway, that one sold for $45.99 within like a day or two, I think. This came from my lot, the wholesale lot that I purchased. So about $3 cost of goods on that. Just a little knit skirt. I thought the color was great, really cute. That one sold for $24.99, a little bit more on the basic side. This I purchased at my favorite little vintage shop. Paid about, I don't know, $1 or $2 for this piece. It was a 60s Orlon like acrylic sweater, and very like sweater girl style. It's about a size large. That one sold for $38.99. Again, this is also the same person. Then this one, this 70s plaid pencil skirt. This was by Savannah. It did have a split in the lining, but no big deal. There wasn't any problem with like the outside of the skirt. That one sold for $38.99. And a funny story, I got, like, of all the items that I've posted, this item I've gotten like, I think 2 different random like, can you model this, weird people coming for me. I don't know what it was about this skirt, but people like the way it looked on my butt, I guess. They wanted to see me walk in it, and I politely declined. This is a pair of Lee jeans. Pretty sure I pulled these out of the bins. Really like these, and honestly I almost kept them. They looked really good on me. But they sold for $35.99. And that was my lot of 5 items that someone bought together, and I was just so happy that they did that. This maxi dress I just picked up. It sold the same day I listed it, within a couple of hours. I only paid $5.99 for this dress, and I was blown away by that. I was at the thrift store. I was on my way out the door, and then somebody held that up. They had pulled it off the go back rack, and they held it up to themselves, and I just kind of like stopped in my tracks and was like waiting there. And I had had a previous interaction with this person. She was very nice, and you know, I asked her like, are you gonna buy that? She's like, no, I don't think it'll fit. I shop for me and my daughter. And I was like, well, I would love it if you're not gonna get it. And actually really hoped that it would fit me, but I tried to get it on, and the top was actually very structured, And like I couldn't get it past here, and I was really devastated because the sleeves are so fantastic. It was so lightweight and soft. So bummed. But this is on its way to Japan, so I got to practice my Japanese. I wrote her a nice little card, and it sold for $184.99. And this tin I picked up at the Goodwill outlet. Pretty lightweight, probably paid, I don't know, 50-60 cents for it, and that one sold for $18.99. Coming down to the last couple of items. This vest was absolutely fantastic. I'm pretty sure I picked this up at a thrift store, but I don't know which one, and I don't know how much I paid for it. Under $6, I do know that much, but I don't know if it was $3 or if it was $6. Just beautiful, beautiful Fair Isle work on this, and like you could see the underside of it. I mean, just like the amount of work that went into this piece. And when I was trying to decide how to price it, you know, I had to price it on the higher side, because if you asked me to make this piece, I would charge you like $200 or more for it, because that is how much work went into the patterning of this, and it's definitely handmade, but just really, really nice. So I sold that one for $74.99. Sold within a week and a half, something like that. And then the last thing was another bins find. This one sold for $44.99. This was an express vintage jumper dress. This was like a plum purple, and it had a zip front, and it was like a pinafore style dress with pockets on the hips. So sorry, getting over a cold here. Anyway, yeah, so that was it for Etsy. I did finally make Star Seller this month for November, so that should be interesting. I don't think it's going to help at all. But yeah, I have been trying to make it to 500 listings on Etsy. So close. 494. I made it to 500, and then I just sold a bunch of stuff, and then I dropped down to like 460, and now I'm really trying to climb back up there, so it's been a little bit difficult. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pause this video and open up my Thrilling, and then we'll come back and I'll go through my Thrilling sales with you. Okay, so it was a mix of a month on Thrilling, not as many sales, but I had some very good sales. So we will start with the most recent. Let's see, record. Okay. This 1970s embroidered dress sold for $145.99. Now Thrilling takes 10%. That is their only commission. There's no listing fees, no credit card fees, no shipping costs. That's it, 10%. So $145.99, and then I got 90% of that selling price. And this was a really great dress. It did take a little bit longer than I expected to sell. I think I listed this in like April or something like that. Yeah, but it was a little bit on the smaller side. It was, let's see, 34-inch bust, and like a small across the shoulders, so like only 13 inches across the shoulders. So you'd have to be pretty small to wear this. And it did have a little bit of dirt around the hem. I was just a little afraid to wash this because it had a lot of layers, a lot of ruffles. Yeah, so that one sold for $145.99. Then this sold to a production studio, but again, I don't know like what production it's going to be used for. I pulled this out of the bins. At the same time, I pulled those little pink tap shorts that sold on Etsy. Same like person owned them. This was yeah, see, again, with the, like, just a little bit of yellowing I couldn't get out, but it had these really nice snaps in the crotch, and it was Val mode. Sold for $39.99. This Victoria's Secret two-piece set I actually got from Tori, Girly Girl Style, in one of her hauls. I thought it was cute, but my husband really, really hated it, so I said I would sell it, and it sold for $55.99. This one, I just thought this was very, like, preppy 90s, like, academic looking, like something out of Adelia's catalog, but it was actually from the 70s, I believe, 70s or 80s. The tag was super worn away. Anyway, it was also very soft, so that sold for $37.99. And then this sweater, which I was very surprised took as long to sell as it did. It was Sherpa lined in, like, the main body part. The sleeves were not, but just looked so cozy. Like, if this had fit me, I wouldn't have sold it. It was like a wool and acrylic blend. But yeah, just like great look to it. And that finally sold for $85.99 on Thrilling. This took so long to sell. You can see I have, I mean, maybe you can't, but I have purple hair in this picture. Like, the ends of it are purple. I'm a much smaller size than I am now. These are great though. And I was just so surprised that it took so long for them to sell. I always figured it would take a very specific person to want a pair of full sequin pants. But they did end up selling for the full asking price of $125.99. So I was very happy to see those move. This St. Jillian piece went as well. I had so many people try and just buy the belts off of this. And I was like, no, you gotta buy the whole thing. Like, the belt is the selling point for the top. So if you want the belt, buy the whole thing. And so I finally did. And that sold for $55.99. It had a skirt that went with it, but the elastic at the waist was all stretched out. So it was originally like a two-piece. And I only really showed the top, and then I said it also has a skirt. Here's the damage. I'm just throwing that in for free. So I didn't make it seem like it was a set and there was damage. I made it seem like it was a top, and then I give you a skirt for free, but it's a little bit damaged. So I don't know how that panned out. This did take a little while to sell, but $55.99 on that one. This took a while to sell. This was before I had my full body dress form. Pulled this out of the bins. $35.99 on that one. And then this hat, which I got from that estate buy that I did. It sold for $174.99. This was a hat by Lenore Marshall, a very renowned furrier for, like, absolutely having the best of the best when it comes to like furs and pelts. And this was the softest mink I've ever touched in my life. It was a really beautiful hat. When I priced it, I thought I was crazy, but it did sell for that full price. So I guess I'm not that crazy. And then the last thing that sold on Thrilling was this top. Pulled this out of the bins when I got all of those like pants and 70s items, and this sold for $35.99. So that is what has been selling for me in the vintage world, the vintage community. My Etsy sales last month were $2,362.74. I did not add up all of my Thrilling sales, but let's see. I guess somewhere around like $600, maybe something like that. So yeah, I would say I did about almost $3,000 in vintage sales last month, which is not too bad. Poshmark has been like dead as a doornail for me, and I don't know if it's because I'm putting all of my time and energy into listing vintage, although I have been listing modern stuff as well, like 3 items a day, so I don't really know what's going on over there. We'll talk about that in the next video, but I am tired of talking. My throat is scratchy. And yeah, so thank you all so much for returning to my channel after such a long hiatus. Leave me your comments down below. I've missed talking to you all. And let me know how your October went, and if you're looking forward to November and December. Yeah, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.